Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host for Hoops, James Bouligny. We are going to get into all of the basketball action that has occurred over this past week. Before we do that, introduce my co-hosts, Ryan Chadwick and Paul Harris. How we doing, guys?
I'm doing great. Glad to have you back, James. Glad you're not sick anymore, man.
I know the local feed store helped me out a little bit there. Paul, what about you, man? You didn't say anything.
Oh, hey, what's up, James? Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. Before we get into it, let's thank our title sponsor, Whataburger, real quick.
Whataburger, please print back the Monterey Melt. Message received. Print it on. The Whataburger Monterey Melt is back. What a burger!
All right, we have some notable results coming up. Lubbock Monterey, obviously Aaliyah Chavez, they are going to state. Chadwick, you want to talk about it real fast? They just beat who? Frisco Memorial, right?
Yep.
Talk about
Just defeated Frisco Memorial and Abilene at Hardin-Simmons on Tuesday, 60-57. Now, this game looked like a complete dominant Monterey victory in the first half. They were up by as much as 25. But Memorial, made some changes and defensively and just completely eliminated Chavez in the third quarter. With that being said, they stormed back, eventually taking the lead midway through the fourth quarter. But good teams do what good teams are going to do, and they overcome that adversity. Monterey finds a way to take back the lead and win anyway. Chavez, forced her way through double and triple teams to hit a three with about 3 minutes to go to retake that lead, and they hold on to win. Overall, it was an incredibly entertaining high school basketball game. The gym at Hardin-Simmons was completely packed. Both communities really showed up for their school, and I know a bunch of the Lubbock faithful made the trip. But as the Nets were coming down, we were interviewing the head coach, and she was so proud of her ladies. And they're moving on to state for the first time in 41 years. They won the state title in 1981, and they've made the state tournament a couple times since then, but never to the final game. So Lubbock Monterey is going to play Liberty Hill, and it's going to be a good one. I'll be there on Saturday in the Alamo Dome, and we'll have all the results for you then.
All right. On Estacado, this is on the boys' side. Estacado won over Seminole. They are advancing to the regional final. And Paul, you were there for Jayton and Erie County. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome to see the number one team in the state. that group of boys in Jayton, such a tiny little school, but they went undefeated in football season.
I do feel like we have to talk about that real fast, about how they dominated in football this year. Now they're dominating in basketball. What an accomplishment for such a small school like Jayton to have. That's awesome that they are as successful as they are.
Oh, and James, when you say dominate, you're not kidding. Like their average margin of victory in football was huge. Like even in the state game, it wasn't even close.
They 45'd them.
They 45'd them to win. Yeah, exactly right. And now in basketball, it's like they're using those exact same athletes that cross from football to basketball, and they're doing the exact same thing to other teams. I think Paul, me and you were talking about it earlier this week. You said their only two losses this year are to Lubbock Estacado, the fifth-ranked team in 4A, and Lubbock Cooper Liberty. Finals. So, when you play a team like that, as other 1A schools, what do you even do?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And they've taken on other teams. They took on Wall from our area. They took on Reagan County, and rolled to big wins just over and over. So they tested themselves as much as you could. And, so I was eager to see just how good is this group of kids. And man, they didn't play like a 1A school, Again, like the results, the only team that really beat them this year that was Estacado, dropped 29-point win on them. But man, they were polished, just shot so well, moved the ball so well, great defense. And their two best players were juniors, So Erie County, great season for them, getting to the regional semis, district champ in a really tough district. They got through Water Valley and Garden City, who are still alive, in their part of the bracket. But Erie County kept it close, and then in the third quarter, Jayton, they showed why they're the number one team in the state and pulled away for a big win. But great season for Erie County, new head coach, and Robert Sanford, super impressive, dropping 27 points in his final game, on the number one team in the state.
Yeah, we have more on him coming up. Let's talk about some of the girls' state matchups. So Thursday, or I guess today, we have division or 1A and 2A going at it today. Nazareth is playing Saltillo. Clyde Eula is playing Brodus. Farwell is playing Martins Mill, and the Daytona is playing San Saba. You want to talk about some of these matchups real fast?
I mean, the one that stands out to me there is that Farwell matchup. Of course, the Farwell girls are the ones who eliminated Cristobal.
I want to talk about this.
Okay, all right.
But
You know what?
continue.
Yeah, I was about to say it's pretty much become the Lady Cougars' nemesis at this point. Beat them by 3 points back in the what was it? Was it the area round or was it the regional semifinals?
I think they met in the regional semis.
Yeah. So I mean, and if you look at the margin of victory since then, Cristobal's played them the closest, all the way up to this point. So it's like, man, Lady Cougars could have been in this position. It's a bit frustrating, but. That Farwell team is incredibly talented. And, yeah, James, I'll let you take over from here on this one.
Oh, well, you got to think about – the thing that's incredibly frustrating about it for me is back to Cristobal. They were not ranked all season long. I know I talked about this before I came down and got sick, and I kind of got hung up on disgusting and personal. But I don't know how you don't look at it and say there isn't something personal against Cristobal, keeping them out of the rankings, to lose to Farwell by 3. Farwell's going to state, and for Cristobal to actually beat San Saba, and San Saba's going to state, to not have them ranked is
criminal.
Yes, at this point, it's criminal. It's just. I don't know what Matt Garrett has against Cristobal, but he's the guy who set the rankings, and he never had them ranked all season long. And yeah, I'm going to call it out and say, TABC needs to pull him aside, and because it just doesn't. The validity of the rankings are suffering because of it.
Yeah,
they are. You can't sit there and say this team isn't any good. We're not going to rank them, but then they only lose to ranked teams all season long. I think they had ended up with 8 losses because they lost to Farwell, but 7 losses through the regular season.
Well,
all ranked teams.
They played Farwell twice this year, didn't they?
Yeah, they did play Farwell.
So 2 of those losses are to Farwell.
But this most recent one was to Farwell, and I don't know how they don't look at it and say we need to reevaluate this, and to tell him whatever you have against it, let it go, because it's upsetting to me as now just a fan, because those girls work their ass off all season long. They get out there and play these top-ranked teams, and there's no recognition from anybody.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you're allowed to have a little bit of Homer in you too. Like, you are a Cristobal Cougar at the end of the day, so it's completely understandable.
Yeah, but it's also it means a lot to and I know it might not mean that much to the teams or anything like that, but they're working just as hard as everybody else is. And you don't have them ranked. I don't know how they don't pull them aside and say, get over it. I mean, I would. Or I might just, find someone else for that position.
We'll love to see you're still fired up, James. Let's get into the other games.
All right, let's get into it. Tomorrow, February 28th, is 3A and 4A. Paradise is playing Coots. Paradise is actually coached by Michael Barnes. He coached in Cristobal. He coached at Miles last year. His daughter, JC, I think, is a sophomore, and we know she was very good for him. I'm happy for it. That's actually Miles' boys' coach is Coach Butts. That's his son-in-law. That's his granddaughter. Extremely happy for Paradise to be in this position. 3A Division I, Jim Ned's playing Fairfield. Anybody think Jim Ned wasn't going to be here? After how they dominated all year?
No.
Ryan, Paul, you want to talk about it?
I don't think anyone's surprised at this point. Wall ended up being ranked in the top 25, and even in their 2 matchups against Jim Ned this year, they never seriously threatened them. So I think everyone expected Jim Ned to be exactly where they are right now.
All right, and then into did you have something, Paul?
No. I mean, they're 35-2. I thought all along they were a state title contender.
Who are their losses to? Do we know?
I don't know. They haven't lost in a long time.
I know Chadwick's got his laptop in front of him. He could look it up for us, but whatever.
Start talking about other games.
4A, Dallas Lincoln's playing Cuero, and Decatur's playing Waco La Vega. La Vega was at state in football, weren't they? Chadwick's busy right now. I'll move on. Saturday, March 1st, 5A and 6A, Lubbock Monterey is playing Liberty Hill. Denton Ryan's playing San Antonio Wagner. And then in 6A, Fort Worth Boswell's playing Fort Bend Hightower, and then Cedar Hill's playing Humble Summer Creek.
And Boswell, Fort Worth Boswell is the team that beat the Friendship Girls in the regional final. So that's how close Friendship was to making it to state too. But to answer your earlier question, Jim Ned's 2 losses were to Lorena in a tournament, and that was a 2-point loss, and to Seminole, which was a 3-point loss in another tournament. So, not only did they almost completely sweep their tournament season, but they swept district, and they've lost 2 games by a combined 5 points. So, yeah, Jim Ned, easily one of the most favorite teams in this entire bracket.
No, we got some connections. Jim Ned's kind of like the Wall of Abilene, so, good coaches up there, good kids, and I wish them the best of luck. Before we move any further, though, let's hear a quick word from Jim Bass.
You hear that? That's alerting you that it's truck month at Jim Bass Ford. So it's time for huge savings with $12,000 off MSRP on a new Ford Expedition.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. $12,000 off MSRP on a new Ford Expedition. But you gotta hurry. This is a limited time offer only at Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hart and Arden Road, or 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
All right, we have the boys' regional finals playoff schedule coming up. Chadwick, you want to take this one? There's one of your favorite teams up there.
Yeah, I do see the Estacado Matadors up there.
I
know what you're getting at.
All right.
But
Both of them.
so one of Central's rivals, the Friendship Tigers, they are having the best season in their school's history. They advanced to the regional final with a win over Little Elm on Tuesday for the first time in their program's existence. This is a big deal for them. Unfortunately, they're faced with Denton Geyer. Not going to be an easy matchup, but Friendship honestly hasn't been challenged that thoroughly up until they played Little Elm earlier this week. And even then, that was a 5-point win for them. They were ahead the entire time and just kind of closed them out. But Denton Geyer is incredibly talented. That's going to be a real tough matchup for the Tigers. I do see them having the possibility of winning because they also have athletes on their side. But that one's going to be 7 p.m. at Clyde on Friday. And the other game I want to talk about is Estacado versus Decatur. It's a number 4 versus number 5 matchup. Decatur has the advantage in that one. This is the team that kicked Estacado out of the playoffs last year. I think one round before this. I think they met in the regional semifinals last year. But Estacado's having a year that everything's going right. When they play well, they win big. When they play poorly, they still win type thing. But they got some athletes down there that can really propel them to the state title game. And I do think that this one's going to be good. I think Decatur is also super talented. So I think this one's going to be close. But this one's going to be in Abilene at Abilene Wiley at 7 p.m. on Friday.
All right, and now we got some 2-way matchups here from the Contra Valley. Reagan County's playing Ropes Friday in La Mesa, and then some South Plains. New Home's playing Groover Thursday in Canyon. What about those games? Paul, talk about Reagan County real fast. You talked with Cal Brown, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Huge win. They took down number 6 Olton 49-47. They were down by 10 points in the second quarter. They didn't regain the lead until the fourth quarter. Kason Brown hit a huge 3-pointer. He finished with 20 points. His brother Jarrett had 19. Reagan County had been inconsistent for sure this year, but we knew all along how good they had a chance to be. We knew once playoff got here, they were a dangerous team.
They're kind of hitting stride right now.
Well, preseason number 2, right?
They're preseason number 3. Then they drop all the way out of the rankings altogether.
Rankings don't mean anything.
I say that ranks don't mean anything. I think it was valid. They should have dropped. I always felt all along they were a top 25 team. I mean, they've got a Division I football player, who's an incredible basketball player. I think he scored over 2,000 career points or something. So we knew they had a chance to do something like this. They took out the number 12 team in the state in the area round, then number 6 this last round. So it's actually a regional final of unranked teams. But again, what do the rankings mean? But Ropes is playing great. Ropes beat Reagan County by 10 points earlier this year. But Reagan County knocked out Ropes last year in the area round of the playoffs.
Well, and Ropes beat a ranked team last week to get to where they are now.
Right.
So
So there's some history here, two good teams, and pretty awesome to see Reagan County put a run like this together.
All right. And what about New Home, Chadwick, New Home, and Groover?
Man, so New Home is a team that I can honestly see winning it all this year. They have a lot of size and they use it. They play incredibly well inside. I think that Groover is going to be a tough matchup. Anytime the South Plains plays other Panhandle schools, it ends up kind of being a scrap. But this one's going to be on 6:30 on Thursday in Canyon. And at the time this is being filmed, this hasn't happened yet, so we're still previewing it. But I favor New Home in this matchup. Like I said, they're one of my favorites to go win a state title. But yeah, it should be a good one.
All right, and then to 1A, we've got Water Valley and Garden City and Jayton and Benjamin. Water Valley, Garden City play here in San Angelo at the Janelle Center on Friday. And then tonight, Jayton takes on Benjamin in Clyde. Abilene area is kind of popping with basketball this weekend, huh?
Well, it just seems like it's a happy, middle ground for Lubbock schools playing anyone that's not in Lubbock, right? So I know that any of those Dallas schools, they I guess you could play in Cisco or Coleman, but I mean, might as well just go to Abilene where they have all those college venues and high school venues that they can play
Hey,
at.
the Clyde facility is beautiful, man.
Right, yeah. But Benjamin, the last time Jayton lost, Benjamin beat him, right? I don't think that's how it's going to be this time around. And Benjamin doesn't have Grayson Rigdon on that team anymore.
Who's dropping like 50 points a game.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that Jayton's the heavy favorite. But, I mean, isn't that a testament to Benjamin's program? Like, even without their with their best player leaving, like, they're still here, Like, they still played this well.
They got the Hayes
football,
kids,
too.
don't they? Aren't the Hayes brothers still there?
Yeah, I honestly
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so, yeah.
But, good for them. That's all I got to say. You made it to the regional final despite losing Grayson Rigdon after last year. But I'm sorry, but you're running up against the Jaybirds, and this is where your road ends.
All right. Is that a solid for you, do you think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think Jayton's winning state this year.
All right. And, Paul, let's talk about Water Valley and Garden City. We hear a lot from Water Valley, one parent in particular. Go ahead and talk about them.
Man, it's pretty awesome. Like I said, that was such a good district that they're coming out of. Erie County won that district. Robert Lee was second in that district. Robert Lee got knocked out in overtime by Benjamin in the last round. And then you got tied for third place were Garden City and Water Valley. And then here they are. They both won 3 straight playoff games to get here. Garden City's kind of cruised. They had a kid score 37 for them in the last round, yeah. Texas Brinkley, in that win over Hamlin. And then Water Valley, down 14-0 against number 9 ranked Monday. They come all the way back, win 46-40. And so now one of these teams is guaranteed to be in the state semifinals, and it's pretty awesome for San Angelo fans. If you want to see a game on Friday night, 6 o'clock at ASU, that's a great one to go see.
No, it will be a good game to kind of cap off the Contra Valley here. All right, we're getting to our Carpet Tech Players of the Week. Before we do, we'd have to hear a quick word from Carpet Tech.
I was at work and my daughter called and said, "Mom, there's water in the basement."
There was quite a bit of water in our carpet.
There's water coming out your front door.
And I saw water coming out of the garage closet.
I called Carpet Tech.
I really felt like I was being treated professionally and personally and friendly.
They came in, they said, "Don't worry about this. We're going to get it taken care of."
I think what matters the most to me is that I feel comfortable and that I can trust them.
Sorry about that, still kind of getting over it. Talk about some Contra Valley Players of the Week. Paul, this was kind of your nomination. This is kind of a no-brainer for us, don't you think?
Yeah, again, so, it was his last game he ever played. Robert Sanford, Erie County senior, scored 27 points on the number 1 team in the state, Jayton. He had 6 3-pointers. He also had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Great performance by him. Talked to his dad after the game. He said it was real bittersweet, to see him have a game like that, but it had to be his last game. But, congratulations to him. It wasn't just any opponent. 27 on Jayton is something to be proud of.
Hey, if you're going to go out on top, right? Right?
Definitely wish, I'm sure it is bittersweet, like I said, for him. It's too bad it came in a loss, but what can you do, running into Jayton?
Hey, there can only be one state champion.
And our man Ryan Chadwick thinks they're going to win state. So
I do.
They have the look, man.
Chadwick, go ahead and talk about the South Plains players of the week real fast.
Yeah, so we usually give it to one player, but this week I just couldn't do it. So I'm giving it to the entire Lubbock Monterey Lady Plainsmen. They have the number one recruit in the nation, Aaliyah Chavez. Yes, they haven't had the hardest road running through these playoffs, but when that team fell behind after being up 20 or more in that game against Frisco Memorial, like the girls had to respond. Aaliyah Chavez was getting bracketed with a double team, up the court, and then a third person would sometimes join as soon as she got just outside the arc. So not only did Chavez have to break through that to find someone open, but the girls had to make plays and hit shots. And a big shout out to Ari Colin and
Ambrosia Cole.
Yeah, Ambrosia Cole. Yeah, I was
and
like
Ari Johnson.
Yeah, I was like, I know I messed that up. And Ari Johnson. Ari Johnson was a force inside with her offensive rebounds. Like a bunch of second chance points were scored because of that. And of course, Ambrosia Cole has kind of been the Robin to Chavez's Batman this season. I would even argue that she's just as good as driving the basketball inside as Chavez is. But still, the players around her hitting clutch threes and whatnot, and so this is a big deal, especially when a West Texas team makes it all the way to state in our bigger schools. You got to give them props. First time in 44 years that they've been here, and we wish them all the luck on Saturday.
All right, and now let's kind of close this out. What do y'all think is going to happen at state? Chadwick, you already kind of talked about. You think the Plainsmen are going to win, obviously, right?
Well,
Lady Plainsmen.
I think that they're going to be a bit favored. I think that Liberty Hill finished the season.
It's hard not to
number
favor,
13.
It's hard not to favor them with Aaliyah Chavez, though.
Yeah, of course. But two back-to-back playoff teams have now shown how to stop her. Argyle did it, and then Frisco Memorial did it. If you double bracket her and just say you have to beat us with somebody else. The Lady Plainsmen around her are going to have to step up and shoulder that load because she's not dropping 40 or 50 points anymore. If she gets to, she'll get her 20. With three defenders on her, she'll still get her 20. She's still awesome. But the other girls are really going to have to shoulder that load. But other than that, it's going to be my first state. I guess not state tournament anymore, but state games that I cover for basketball. I've covered the state track meet, state baseball, and state football. So I'm excited. The Alamo Dome's going to be fun in San Antonio this weekend.
All right, what about you, Paul?
I'm hoping the San Saba girls can get through. They play Nacona Thursday night, and then even though I live in Ballinger, I'm going to go ahead and root for Jim Ned. Awesome program. I hope they can get it done as well. Just like to see some titles come out this way. And then, of course, for Monterey as well, I got to see them in the regional final versus Argyle. And, it was a great team. Leah Chavez only scored 17 in that game, and so, again, her teammates did step up when they had to. I think they do have what it takes to get it done. So would love to see some of our teams out here win some state titles.
Yeah, no, obvious. I hope so too. But I'm pulling for Farwell. I want Farwell to win this,
Yeah, that's true, too.
I want them to win. I do want San Saba to win. Paradise, I want Paradise to win. I want them to be successful. That'd be great for I don't know if you'd call Barnes local, but hey, he's been here before, and he's coaching this area, and that'd be super great if they went on and won. And Jim Ned, of course, they're fantastic for a reason. But final thoughts? Anything else?
Texas Tech travels to play Kansas this weekend. We need a win after losing it to Houston without our two best players. Y'all got this.
All right. And also, Aaliyah Chavez is making an announcement on March 25th, right?
Yeah, she told, the local reporters around Lubbock, at least her family did, that the commitment is coming. Rumor is it's going to be a Texas school, so let's fingers crossed it's Lubbock and not Austin.
Oh, goodness, Chadwick. Come on. You'll be happy for her.
Yeah, I'll be really happy
Paul,
for
you'll be
her.
happy for her.
I hope so, man. I hope she's coming to Austin.
All right. For me, TABC do the right thing, calling Matt Garrett. Other than that, this has been Cover One. I'm your host, James Bouligny. For my co-host, Ryan Chadwick and Paul Harris, we'll see you next time.